Inauguration ceremony of the on IConArts 2024 faculty of our capital. Enjoy the video.
The faculty and University Academy and attracts and undergraduate and faculty University of Colombo by the honors from the Faculty of Arts is celebrated and social sciences. The faculty celebrated the disaster English
Of Sri Lanka to learn the traditional oil lamp, which is a customary of any auspicious occasion. For this, we now invite our dignitaries to join in line with us and brighten up this occasion. First and foremost, I would like to invite Chief Guest, Senior Professor H.D. Karunaratne, Vice Chancellor, University of Colombo. He will be followed by Senior Professor Lasantha Manavadu, Dean, Faculty of Arts, University of Colombo. Emeritus Professor Nihal Pereira, Keynote Speaker, Ball State University, USA. Dr. Pradeepa Vijayatunga, Librarian, University of Colombo. Mrs. K.C.S. Pereira, Registrar, University of Colombo. Mrs. J.T.A. Damasena, Bursa, University of Colombo. Two representatives on behalf of the heads of the departments. Two representatives on behalf of the senior faculty members. Dr. Ananda Karunaratne, Co-Chairperson, IConArts 2024. Ms. Netra Senadi, Co-Chairperson, IConArts 2024. Dr. Avanka Fernando, Secretary, IConArts 2024. Mr. T. Suresh Kant, Senior Assistant Registrar, Faculty of Arts, University of Colombo. Ms. Sunetra Bolage, Senior Assistant Bursa, Faculty of Arts, University of Colombo, and 2 representatives on behalf of the presenters at the IConArts 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, to formally commence the ceremony, let's rise for the national anthem.
invite the following dignitaries to take their seats at the head table.
To welcome the audience.
Very good morning to all. Senior Professor, Chair, H.D. Karunaratna, Vice Chancellor, University of Colombo, and our esteemed Chief Guest today, Senior Professor Lasantha Manavadi, Dean, Faculty of Arts, Professor Emeritus Nihal Pereira, our distinguished keynote speaker today, Dr. Pradeepa Vijay Tunga, Librarian, University of Colombo, respected deans, heads of the department, senior professors and unit coordinators, esteemed faculty members, Mr. P. Suresh Khan, Senior Assistant Registrar, Faculty of Arts, Ms. Vatsala Rajapaksha, Senior Assistant Bursar, Faculty of Arts, distinguished guests, dear colleagues and ladies and gentlemen. It is with great honor and pride that I warmly welcome all of you to the 10th International Conference on Faculty of Arts, University of Colombo, IConArts 2024. This conference has become a hallmark event in our faculty's annual calendar, reflecting our commitment to advancing knowledge and fostering intellectual collaboration. Since its inception in 2014, IConArts, our international conference on humanities and social sciences, has grown into a distinguished platform showcasing the groundbreaking research conducted by our postgraduate scholars and academic staff. Over the years, it has expanded beyond its original scope, evolving into a significant forum for scholarly exchange. Today, IConArts unites a diverse community of participants, including postgraduate students from Sri Lanka and beyond, and also local and international academics and researchers from various universities, think tanks, and research organizations worldwide. As we celebrate the decades of IConArts, we are particularly proud of this year's theme, building a sustainable and resilient future through humanities and social sciences. IConArts 2024 underscore the pivotal role of humanities and social sciences in addressing pressing global challenges, fostering sustainability, and building resilience. This platform not only highlights the innovative research emerging from Faculty of Arts, but also promote collaboration and exchange of ideas among researchers or at all stages of their careers. As we embark on this inspiring academic journey together, I warmly welcome each of you to this year's conference. I hope it serves as a catalyst for meaningful discussion, spark innovative thinking, and lays the foundation for impactful contribution that will benefit generation to come. Thank you, and I wish you all a productive and enriching experience at the IConArts 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Now, I would like to cordially invite Senior Professor Lasantha Manawadu, Dean, Faculty of Arts, University of Colombo, to address the gathering.
Good morning to all of you. The Vice Chancellor, University of Colombo, Senior Professor H.T. Karunaratne, the heads of the departments, Faculty of Arts, Senior Professors, Emeritus Professors, Senior Professors, Professors of the Faculty, Librarian, academic members of the Faculty, administrative staff of the faculty, faculty members of the faculty, and also our keynote speaker today, Professor Nihal Perra, and ladies and gentlemen. This is the 10th International Conference, IConArts 2024, organized by the Faculty of Arts under the theme of building a sustainable and resilient future through humanities and social sciences. Under this theme, main theme, faculty has formulated 10 such sub-themes considering the different disciplines of the faculty. There is no doubt that this is a timely theme for this year's Faculty Annual Conference, IConArts 2024. We started this annual conference as a key calendar event of the faculty in year 2015 with the guidance and the supervision of the former Dean, Professor Atula Ranasinghe, who was the Dean that time. We have completed 9 annual international conference by now. Even during the pandemic situation and much difficulties we could held in our IConArts during the last couple of years. As an academic, I believe that our profession is much different from other professions. I would like to categorize our duties in 3 folds. The first part is teaching. We serve to deliver our knowledge mainly in 4 forms of teaching for undergraduates and postgraduate students. The school teachers also teach their students. But are we doing the same thing as what school teachers are doing? This is a question we should ask ourselves. Research is the second part of our duties. Here we are all conducting research at different scales. Some are doing very high-level research on exploration and innovation. Some do policy level, and some research are those among internationally accepted research in this nature. We engage in multiple ways of research. It is always important to see how we produce knowledge through our research. Here, we became knowledge producers by conducting research and publishing them. Being a university lecturer means that we are compelled to teach by experiencing research. In other words, we teach the knowledge gained through our research. Here let me provide some statistics from the faculty. Last year, during 2023, the faculty members, they have earned nearly 1,500 citations. So in an average, that is 10 per one lecturer. So it's quite impressive number, but in some cases when we compare to other faculties of the university, one lecturer has earned more than 5,000, 6,000 citations per year. Yes, again let me go back to my original question about the role of a school teacher and the university lecturer. What do a school teacher teaches? They teach facts and information available in the textbooks. University academics are supposed to teach knowledge they produce through their research. That is one of the main differences between a university lecturer and a school teacher.
Third part of our duties is dissemination of knowledge. In this class, we are obliged to disseminate knowledge produced by yourself. We utilize multiple platforms for
dissemination knowledge such as publishing books. The Professor Nandasara is here, and research papers, conducting public lectures and participating at conference, etc. The IConArts 2024 that we are inaugurating today is the faculty's largest platform of dissemination knowledge, not only among colleagues and students, but also various other international academics pertaining nationally and internationally. This is why conferences of this nature are extremely useful to the university system. The conferences are open platform for dissemination and facilitate the opportunity for academics and researchers to present their research findings. I am confident that IConArts 2024 will be a very useful engagement to policymakers and researchers who are participating from different parts of the world. The conference creates an ideal platform to discuss and debate research outcomes. Finally, I would like to thank everyone make this event a conference a success. I wish you all a very productive and very fruitful day and a future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to cordially invite Senior Professor H.D. Karunaratne, Vice Chancellor, University of Colombo, to address the gathering.
Venerable Mahasangha, Dean of the Faculty, Senior Professor, Chair, Vasanta Manavadu, members of the head table, especially keynote speaker, heads of the departments, senior professors in academia, invited guests. It gives me great pleasure today address you in this international conference series of the University of Colombo. Today we are having IConArts. I think this is my 13th international conference from the July to here. I have another 10 to finish before December. This year the University of Colombo is conducting 23 annual research symposiums coupling with the 10 faculties, 6 institutes, 1 campus, actually 2, one is at Valigatta, and Sripali library, and some interdisciplinary research conferences are also there. So altogether I have participated 23, today is 13th. So it is great pleasure because we know the University of Colombo is large institute, particularly with the 43,000 learning partners. The Faculty of Arts is one of the largest faculties today, that we have more than 3,000 undergraduate and of course postgraduate students, if you add maybe 4,000. So that all university hope to achieve four main goals, as we know, as he explained: the teaching and learning, the research, capital and provision of infrastructure services, and the responsible management. Now, we all worry about research. Why? As academia, we are to create new knowledge and publish articles and books, journal. There are many variations of publications. We believe that publication or research is our main duty. Meanwhile, in the University of Colombo Annual Research Symposium team, they set the theme as sustainable future through impactful research. Research and impactful research, how it is different. Because this year theme of the entire university is impactful research. So the impactful research means that the research should go beyond just the research, which means, number one, innovations. Something new should find, and based on that, we have to develop something to the world. Number two, the policy making. We have to recover all the researchers for the policy making purpose. Why we should do that? Because we are the people who are doing new things. Why we do that? To the betterment of others' lives. The society will be better off if we can create our research with the policy making. The third is collaboration, cooperation and networking. Research will provide a better situation, better result for networking with others, cooperating with others, because there are thousands of organizations doing research in the world. You know, there are more than 8,300 universities and research organizations classified by the Times Higher Education ranking, and we are 17% below. So we are in the best 17% below. If you take the Peradeniya University, 22% below. And if you take some other universities, they are more close to 100% below. So that what you have to understand, this researching is important for collaboration, cooperation and networking. Finally, that we have to do active research, actively impactful research. So that is why we call the impactful research. So research is only one part of ranking universities. Just I want to explain about ranking and the university relationship as well, because the people misunderstood that when we say number one, oh, it's a ranking, you don't have to care about that. What is ranking? So if you go to Times Higher Education ranking system, there are 17 indices they concern, not only research. If I tell you that teaching reputation of the faculty and student-staff ratio, doctoral doctoral degree ratio, what you are offering, and doctorate staff, institutional income, revenue you generate is matter for ranking, and research productivity, citation impact, research strength, social excellence, research excellence, research influence, industry income, partnerships, patents what you have obtained, and one important thing, the ratio of international students and international faculty also matter for ranking. So ranking does not mean only number. What all these 17 indices reflect, the quality of the institute. Ranking means the quality. So when you say you are number one in the Sri Lankan university, which is ranked by the quality. So not only research, for example, in the Faculty of Arts, you took the leadership, taking more foreign students, the ratio, right, the Dean and the Mahinda Pushpakumara and all, when the foreign student ratio going up in the university, ranking is going up. when you collaborate and invite your friends in other countries as professors for these seminars and collaborations, the ranking going up. How much foreign professors we invite to the faculty. So therefore, please understand it is not just a number we say. So all these 17 indices by the higher education ranking category, they take it into 5 categories again, bringing down to teaching excellence, research environment, research capacity, industry linkages, and international outlook. These are very important things. Taking all these together, we have created in the University of Colombo our strategic plan. Last 2 years we implemented from the January 1st with the 4 goals. As I explained at the very beginning, research, teaching and teaching is number 1. Teaching, learning, excellence, and excellence in research, excellence in capital and infrastructure and the service providing, and finally, we know excellence in responsible management. So that is how the ranking coming to the university ranking goes with our objectives, our goals. Universities are having goals. So University of Colombo have 4 goals. When we are researching this kind of, as the Dean explained that, we have produced more than 1,500 journal articles. So according to, Elsevier publisher, that the last year, the University of Colombo has produced 3,178 SCI journal articles. Even Peradeniya produced more than us, 20 more than us, but they rank the most impactful research as done by the University of Colombo. So I circulate that the publisher report with the Dean, you can see it. So why they say that? Because still our, of course, this year, out of our 729 academia, at the beginning we have 729 academics in service, so that out of that, 10 members selected under the best 2% of world scientists in this year. So that is quality. That will show us the quality. The ranking will go up because of that. So therefore, we need to understand the rank always tell us our quality. So quantity and quality both are growing in the University of Colombo. That we have 43,000 students, and meanwhile, this kind of research conferences will bring your research into the discussion. That is part of in future where we can seek the higher level of collaboration. When you publish like this, the better universities are seeking us. Say Tsinghua University, recently I visited, that is number 1 in China sometimes. I saw that their journal, your senior professor Sandagoni is editor, one of the editors in one journal there. So that is the reputation we bring. When you do research, that when you invited to do in the reviewing or editing in reputed journals, that is the university going up. So therefore this kind of research conferences are very, very important, and we need to understand the impact of it. It is not a show off here. The real impact is coming with your product, what you call making as the research paper and converting it to impactful research by going those 4-5 dimensions I explained at the very beginning. So thank you very much. I took a little bit time. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to the most important segment of today's ceremony, the official launch of the conference proceedings of IConArts 2024. I now have the pleasure of inviting Senior Professor H.D. Karunaratne, Vice Chancellor, University of Colombo, and Senior Professor Lasantha Manavadu, Dean, Faculty of Arts, University of Colombo, to formally launch the digital version of conference proceedings. To symbolize the launch of printed version of the conference proceedings, I cordially invite Dr. Ananda Karunaratne, co-chairperson IConArts 2024, to present the printed version to our distinguished guests. First, to Senior Professor H.D. Karunaratne, Vice Chancellor, University of Colombo. Next, to Senior Professor Asantha Manavadu, Dean, Faculty of Arts,
University of Colombo. Finally,
to Emeritus Professor Nihal Pereira, Keynote Speaker, Ball State University, USA. Ladies and gentlemen, let us take a moment to applaud this epic achievement of the successful publication of the IConArts 2024 conference proceedings. Moving on to the next segment, keynote address by Emeritus Professor Nihal Pereira, Ball State University, USA. To introduce our keynote speaker, I cordially invite Dr. Ananda Karunaratne, co-chairperson IConArts 2024.
Good morning, everyone. It is my great honor to introduce the distinguished keynote speaker for IConArts 2024, Professor Nihal Pereira, a globally renowned scholar, educator, and practitioner in the field of urban planning and architecture. Professor Pereira is a Professor Emeritus of Urban Planning at Ball State University, USA, and the visionary founder and director of CAP Asia, an immersive learning semester in the Asia that ran successfully from 1999 to 2021. His illustrious academic journey includes serving as a two-time Fulbright scholar in China and Myanmar, as well as holding prestigious positions such as Senior Research Fellow at the National Institute of Singapore and King Mangrove Institute of Technology in Thailand, Graham Foundation Fellow in the USA, distinguished visiting scholar at the University of Alberta in Canada, and Erasmus Mundus Scholar in Germany and Italy. Notably, he is also the recipient of 3 Fulbright Hayes Awards. As the original contributor to the field of post-colonial and a leading scholar on Colombo, Professor Pereira's research delves into how ordinary people negotiate and create live spaces for their daily activities and cultural practices. Professor Pereira also has published very impactful research papers on diverse topics such as gender, race, planning, development and urban studies, with a focus on places like Chandigarh, Dharawali, Yangon and Gary, USA. Among his notable publications are acclaimed by books titled Decolonizing Ceylon, Transforming Asia Cities, and People's Spaces. In addition to his academic achievement, Professor Pereira has a rich professional background. Basically, he practiced as an architect from 1977 to 1983 and served as the chief architect, planner, and engineer of the Mahavali project, which was Sri Lanka's largest development initiative from 1983 to 1989. He also was involved as a regional and physical planner for the migration project in Indonesia. His teaching experiences spans across the globe, with classes taught in China, Germany, India, Italy, Myanmar, and Sri Lanka. Professor Nihal Pereira's legacy is defined by his multidisciplinary contribution and his unwavering commitment to fostering a deeper understanding of urban planning and development in post-colonial and cross-cultural context. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to our distinguished keynote speaker, Professor Nihal Pereira. Dear sir, the floor is now Yours.
Can I, do I have to operate this? Yeah, can I keep this?
Sir, or supply to me.
No, sir, actually, एक online would make a. ಲ್ಯಾಪ್ಟಾಪ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ මේක මූව් කරන්න මේ ළඟ තමයි තිබුණා හරි මට මේක තියාගන්න නැත්නම් කමන්නේ මට පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන් තැනක හරි මේක තියන්න okay හරි Yeah, I'm sorry. Looks like a concert, right? Yeah. Without taking much time, thank you very much for having me, and thank you very much for all of you for coming. I do believe in learning from ordinary people whom we are supposed to serve as educated people. So I ask myself, who am I? What is my relationship with them? Right? I think these are questions you should ask constantly, I think. Even I created a program in 1998, you guys heard, called CAP Asia, to bring American students to live in communities in Asia for a semester. Just learn from communities, right? As the students follow ordinary people, I followed them. In 2001, the co-director of the program, Wes Jans, a white American, he went back to Ball State to come back, but he was in transit in Amsterdam, and he, with all this fun and sort of like enjoyment and learning, he wanted to have some coffee and went to a coffee shop which said all major currencies are accepted, and he paid in Indian rupees, which is used by 1.5 billion people in the world, right? They said, no, not Indian rupees, right? So, and then when he returned back to India, you know, like to join me and the students, he gave the address card of the hotel to a taxi driver, and he was reading it upside down. And then he was kind of like wondering, I mean, being a white American, and like wondering, like, what the hell is going on, right? And then, of course, another incident was kind of like we were on a three-wheeler, it hit something, and he went and talked, and just we went. We don't do that in the US, right? So now the question is, who is literate and who is illiterate? Who is literate and who is illiterate, right? And who decides? Should we educate them or ourselves? Right. Here is a challenge for you. Can you listen to me without judging me? Without, you know, like when we start reading a book, we sometimes like to know the end. We might say, this is not good, this is good. Try it, it's fun. Try to listen to me without judging me, without expecting, you know, and try to sort of get what it. This is called learning, right? This is how a lot of people learn, you know, especially the so-called illiterates learn, right? So let me get back to the title. Illiteracy is not a defined category. There's nothing called illiterate. There are no illiterates. In the past, no one read or wrote like today. In the past, the humankind didn't do this, right?
So, except for a few maybe. So according to the Oxford English Dictionary, which is an authority, if you want to know the modern world, this word literacy was not even in circulation until the 1880s. So it's very recent. If the human race was there for a much longer duration. So an illiterate person, that is an imagined, but the necessary other of the literate. We won't be literate if there are no illiterate people, right? So it's a modern social construction. The inferior illiterates make us literate. This reminds me of a correspondence in which Nehru asked Gandhi, why the hell are you living in villages wearing like Amudes? For Nehru, village was a place where kids are uneducated, people wear old and torn clothes and starve. Right? Gandhi replied, that's not my village. You're not talking about my village, He indicated that the village that Nehru carried or talked about was a Western urban-centric perception biased against the village. Right? He indicated, he didn't say that, I'm saying that. This distinction made in the early 20th century, Gandhi talked about this in the early 20th century, long before decolonization, clarifies a crucial failure of contemporary development and education. Oh, I'm forgetting to move this. Okay. It's okay. The challenge, Okay. In the West, education aims to produce literate people who can not only read and write, but also think and engage in intellectual endeavors and intervention. Yet, education in the West is also largely formal. I mean, I taught in a university, several. It's formal, directed, and confined. They all say, what are your objectives and so on, which I try to avoid all the time, right? A significant proportion of innovators in the West, like Bill Gates, were not direct trainees of the system, were not. However, they had enough room in the education system to question it. In the post-colonial world, education was developed under colonialism and recognized under the US hegemony. Educated people are considered literate, and education is the means to literacy. Yet, the object of education in the colonies was different. It was to train locals to work in the colonial administration and public works and the military and so on, is to serve the colonials. The education socialized them within the colonizers' world. This reworlding was epistemic, right? It's mental. In classroom, the students are cloned after the image of the instructor. That's what the exams are, right? Unable to read the village any longer, the graduates, many of them are from villages, want to escape to Australia, right? We have this problem, this is real. As development discourses highlight, the education is a one-way ticket. People have argued many times. It's a one-way ticket out of the village and out of the country. Some bring back Western knowledge, and sometimes authoritatively, I know, I learned from the West, right? They come back. From the people's side, schooling was a means. If you look at it from the people's side, schooling was a means to a job and status, right? That's why we go to school. That produced confused deshis, in a way, or Redda se Mahatru, like in the past, right? Because they very confused. As the subjects learn how to understand the way the West makes sense of the world, in school, from research institutions, books and museums, not directly, right? Because we don't have access. Sri Lanka is turned into a docile database for Western theories. I mean, I'm so surprised that in most theories they ask, what is your theory? Why would you start from a theory? What's wrong, right? Western people didn't do that. As demonstrated in transforming Asian cities, okay, I think I'm messing this up, sorry. As demonstrated in transforming Asian cities, this is highly evident the way research is conducted. I map out the elements of this. Yet, colonialism was incomplete. Colonialism was incomplete. It never reached the ends of Ceylon. It was not total. As evident in Kaushalya Herath's study of Nelibaba, a village near Kuliapitia, most rural people did not complete high school education because they did not need a government job. Colonialism was unable to incorporate much of rural Ceylon. Many couples didn't even get legally married. I'm a little older. In the 1970s, people were brought in carts bullock carts to cities to marry them because they've been living alone. So I think this formal world, it is only in our heads, right? It doesn't even exist. So colonialism was not able to incorporate much of Ceylon. As Gandhi thought, the villages have the potential to generate various trajectories. Village doesn't have to produce, if capitalism is benevolent, if we wait for a little while, every village will be urbanized and industrialized, right? And that's the trajectory that we know. We don't know anything else, do we? What if the Marxists rule? They do the same thing, only the redistribution of resources will be different, right? Because both of these discourses come from the West. Because that's what the Western people think. Because they industrialized and urbanized, that's what has to happen in the world. But Gandhi said, leave it alone. It's like a mother. It can give birth to various other forms, right? It's like, some environmentalists say, leave the forest and the nature alone, right? Only very few who have looked at the world from the village. We talk about the village, but we talk from a very urban-centric standpoint. Education in Sri Lanka is largely training. From potty training, training is at the core of parenting and schooling. Once at Muratu University, the first-year students were sent out to observe 5 elements that make Kevin Lynch's image of the city. They came back and said, we didn't find any. And the instructor yelled at them, shamed them, sent them back. Now, what I would have done is, if so, what did you see? Let's talk about this, right? Because students have to learn from where they are, not where I am, right? Built on beliefs and not investigations, and exercising power. It's not investigations once you start with the theory, because it's all already molded in your mind. And exercising power, this type of training delimits students' capacity to think, investigate, and innovate. When they become university educators, they expect respect, people calling them sir and madam, right? This is big in certain universities. The dominator culture, this is from Bell Hooks, the dominator culture tried to keep all of us afraid, to make us choose safety instead of risk, sameness instead of diversity, because we are so much afraid to be different. In a statement of purpose, I'm going to go through this fast so you can read that. In her statement of purpose, an applicant from Sri Lanka to my school wrote that she grew up in a village and the city was magic with lights and cars and everything, right? And there was not much light there. When she got to study in the nearby city for advanced level, she was enjoying the urban mysteries, right? And she joined Muratu University and she got to explore Colombo, which is the main city in Sri Lanka. Man, it was so great. And then she went to classes, and the urban planning program taught her what is the city, how do you characterize it, what are the problems of the city, and how to solve it. Now this person who has never been in a city knows how to solve problems, and she is sent to kind of like various cities to do this, right? This is ridiculous, she said, not me, she said. She resigned from Urban Development Authority after 5 years and decided to further study because she has not killed her curiosity. Because you need curiosity to study. You can't do otherwise. We can turn to Karl Marx, if Marx is very popular in Sri Lanka, and the Buddha, among others, for some guidance. Most inspiring words during my high school years, during which I led Marxist groups and so on, question everything, right? But a lot of Marxists don't. And then the Buddha also wanted us to examine rather than believe something because it is the tradition professed by a teacher or respectable person, logical, theoretical, beautiful, convincing, all found in a scripture, right? Can we do this? Yet the literates learn from the word. Word means books and various things, concepts, right? Writing of others, especially Europeans and Europeanized scholars. Confucius called this imitation. So is Gayatri Spivak. Colonials viewed the colonized as kids who need to be trained. Actually, that's the tradition we continue, right? Western understandings are constructed within their worldview, which is Judeo-Christian, whatever, right? For example, it largely uses oppositional categories, teleologies, divide history to stages, etc., etc. So we say, okay, Portuguese period, Dutch period, and totally apolitical. How could we even talk about these things? So I asked you not to judge. I'm sure it's very hard, right? Can you understand what I'm saying without taking it dualistically or teleologically to add something, right? Because we are taught, we judge, right? Also without assuming that I'm discarding Europe, I don't, and privileging non-Europeans, no. But I do refer to non-Europeans because I think we are not trained. Every time somebody talks, they refer to a Western scholar, as if that's the only way to legitimize. But I do not imply any of these things that I said. The European understanding has produced a whole new world of telephones, computers, air travel, air conditioners, brain surgeries, as well as pollution, climate crisis, and forms of slavery, new slavery. Right. Also, black people, like the Ceylonese, are inferior to white people. Right. Sounds like racism, right? No, because in the Western discourse, it is scientific. They are from different geographies. That is why it is. So it's called geographical determinism. So racism is very scientific. We are very inferior, whether you like it or not. The European approach is exclusive. There is right and wrong ways in it. Rather than accommodating other forms of thinking, Judeo-Christian scientific thinking excludes other knowledge. There are bad guys and good guys, even in movies and in stories, right? Yakas and the Almighty God is always on our side. Right? As the scholars and rulers strip other people of their languages, logic, thinking, worldviews, and existence, huge amounts of knowledge is destroyed. We don't pay attention to those. The Europeanized, we do the same with parenting and schooling. The young learn the word, reading and listening to Eurocentric knowledge and build on it. This is a process of erasing ourselves. We have become so colonized that we don't even know that we are colonized. I say, like I'm getting old, I forget things, and if I know that I forgot, maybe it's okay. But if I don't even know that I forgot, I need a doctor, right? So Mukesh Mehta, I'm going to practical areas. I'll get to the expert thing. Mukesh Mehta's proposal for the redevelopment of Dharavi, which is a well-known middle class people call it slum, I call it self-established settlement, in Mumbai, can provide flats for everyone and save a large chunk of land for private hospitals, schools, sports facilities to kind of earn money. Fantastic project, sounds like it. These businesses can make the housing free for inhabitants. Inhabitants don't even have to pay for the flats that they will be getting. What would happen to the great microeconomy of recycling plastics? There's a huge industry of recycling plastics in Dharavi, producing clay pots and making sweets and papads or papadam. Mehta haven't even seen these things. Mehta sees through the people because of his education and his business. He sees land value. The people are like, man, they are transparent. He could not even get the number of people right. They always contest, like, you're wrong. There are so many people, and so on. So it never, heavily contested. So the gap between the experts and inhabitants' understanding is deep. Anywhere you go, even you go to a regular government, right? I mean, I know they want cars and all these things because they are trained that way, but if you spend more time, you will see the gap is rooted in the worldviews. Most middle class people, including politicians and professionals, are scared to visit Dharavi and Vanathamulla. As Herat noticed, planners and policymakers do not even go to PETA. They get other people to find data, right? They think people in Dharavi and Vanathamulla are threatening and fear of getting trapped inside. I might get killed, right? Now, they find themselves out of place. This is in Sri Lanka. This is, a regular place. They have gone to school, they have learned how to read maps, and satellites, and all the things. They can get out of Vanathamulla, right? They can go to Vanathamulla. Are they literate or illiterate? Why are these professionals capable of reading maps and so on, cannot visit a place like that? The conflict between middle class conceptions and lived realities of the low-income people was the subject of a conversation between the celebrated American urbanist Jane Jacobs and a planner at the north end of Boston, which is, and I'm going to be brief because you can read that. Jane Jacobs says, it does not feel like a slum to me, and then the planner says it's the worst slum in the city, right? Now that's the gap. And after asking for more statistics, Jacobs saying, you should have more slums like this, right? She's very celebrated if you don't know Jane Jacobs. Don't tell me that there are plans to wipe this out. You ought to be down here learning as much as you can from it. This was written in the 1950s, right? Similarly, the planner for Gandhinagar, Prakash Apte, sees Dharavi as a unique, vibrant and thriving cottage industrial complex. It's easy to walk, planners go to school and try so hard to achieve these things people have already achieved, right? But we are trying to achieve it through satellite images and all these things. People have achieved on the ground. We don't want to ask them. We don't want to talk to them. We are afraid of them. We are being made afraid in educational institutions, right? It transforms incrementally, so people are not displaced. It's pedestrianized, community-centric, network-based, human-scale. Man. So, in short, experts miss the ground realities. Sorry to say this. And this is huge. It's not small. Probably the majority. Right? Why? For Jacobs, the secret is education. My friend's instincts told him the North End was a good place. Instincts. If he can use his senses only. And his social statistics confirmed it. But everything he had learned as a physical planner about what is good for people and city neighborhoods, everything that made him an expert, told him the North End had to be a bad place. I have this, you can read the whole thing, like in my People's Purpose book. Right? So when I asked my students in Myanmar, when I was teaching in Myanmar, to tell me, what did you feel when you just get out of your dwelling, whether it's a flat or whatever? A guy tells me that there's an urban housing system and a transportation system and so on. I said, your census tells you that there's a transportation system and a housing system? You must be crazy, They are being trained and robotized. I was sad. I mean, I just brought them into senses. You know, like, I mean, I helped them how to sort of like get out and make this erased person, how you can become yourself a little bit, right? And he's not alone. He's not alone. What has formal education done to them? Made them illiterate, robots. What else can cloning system based on memory do? We check the memory, right? This is epistemic violence. This is epistemic violence. This is extreme violence, right? A continuation of thousands of years of depriving of people's right to intellectual labor. Now, Marxism is big here, so we all know we have, oops, is that okay? Okay. And we know how bad to exploit physical labor, but what about mental labor? People have not been allowed for thousands of years, before the colonials, before the Europeans, before the capitalists, right? And we still do it. But however, something I really enjoyed, the inability of the middle classes to read these environments is a major safeguard for low income people. You can't destroy something that you don't know, right? So the illiterate, but let's go back to the other side. The illiterates learn from the world, not from the word. Through experience. Instead of simply surviving within subjectivities and spaces created by the state and capital, so adopting the victimhood or subjecthood, you know, becoming victims. We think they're victims, they're poor and all these things. They don't. Or even directly fighting against them for their rights, like the oppositional forces. Ordinary people use tactics to negotiate. They wait for the time. You know, they negotiate for daily activities and cultural practices, right? We may not like what they have, but they have something much better than they used to have. They live before theorize, see, and act before learning. They are reflective practitioners. There's a pedagogical discourse called reflective practitioner, who observe and question the process without surrendering their agency to academic authority or foreign theory. These illiterates have a different understanding of a norm at local level, quite different, where the local standards of measurements are largely tied to practical, not to theory, right? James Scott argues these things. I'm not giving you all the references here. The ordered and totalized notions of space conceived by authorities, so we have this ordered space. Authorities, professionals and the literates are largely alien to their subjects. They don't see it that way. People do not think in terms of PO categories and oppositions, but employ a mixed bag of resources that may be Western, modern, traditional, vernacular, and develop useful combinations of these. Nobody thinks of chemical fertilizer and organic fertilizer as opposition. It's only the literate people who have this argument. Farmers use both. These methods developed through thinking are luxuries not available to the literates, who are programmed rather than encouraged to think on their feet, which is what ordinary people do. Ordinary people use weaker places of the structure to penetrate into them. They use hidden transcripts, right? Weapons of the weak, and tactics to amend the social spatial assignments they are pushed into, beginning with finding ways to occupy those more effectively. This individual action has a collective effect. In Malaysia, where James Scott did studies, he observed a collective conspiracy of silence that relies on tacit cooperation and shared norms and values. When you find the peasants in the archive or the police station, something has gone wrong. They are not trying to get into the peasants and the archives and so on, the police station where we go for research. We can't find them in the places where we look for them. We need to go to them, right? The resistance is more like desertion than mutiny, right? Like squatting than public land invasion with banners. This is precisely how Sri Lankans have built Gamas, Handiyas, Polis. These are all documented in my People Spaces book, which will be translated by the beginning of next year. Even middle classes are not different. Almost all buildings in cities have building permits, but they don't comply with those, right? Middle classes also negotiate. Everybody negotiates. But we have been taught all these fantastic frames and say, go find it. No, you can't find any of these things. The experts are lost, like American soldiers in Vietnam. This was so evident in response to tsunami. Experts in Colombo hardly understood people in Hambantota. People should have come from Chicago, they would have done the same thing. Right? Why is this big distance? Right? Most of what they were provided did not meet the needs. As I've argued, I've written a piece on pieces on Dharavi and Vanathamula both. There is no natural trajectory. There is there is no natural trajectory that poor people become middle class, and they move to middle class environments, middle class people move to richer environments. If you just leave alone, the market will not do this. Will not do this, because I have observed Dharavi and Bandrakurla are right next to each other. Bandrakurla is a business district in new business district in Mumbai. So if there's a organic trajectory, Dharavi should become like Bandrakurla. Actually, no. Bandrakurla is becoming like Dharavi. So the future is maybe our future is slums, maybe, right? Because more people in these informal settlements use more concrete, live and lay more bricks than all the contractors combined, right? So there is nothing. And also, when the middle class people build so-called suburbs, they are not rich environments. Those are very bad copies of rich environments. And in the United States, we call them cookie cutter homes, right? Because richer people's environments are fantastic. I mean, I've been to those as an explorer. So development of people-friendly interpretations directs us to theorize. Theorize. Okay, I'll just leave it there. Theorize rather than use theory. I think that's one of the ways to rather than applying theories, because applying theories transform down realities. I have done a piece called Importing Problems, how a particular rule that was brought from the UK in 1915 called the Housing Ordinance, how that changed the perception of Kochikade. Kochikade became a slum. Kochikade was not a slum before that, right? And now we have to kind of like go and sort of like do slum clearance and all sorts of different things because of theory. Theory can transform the ground. So I think the other way around is, if you want to understand the ground, you need to theorize. You can't use theory. So this is not an easy task. The kind of knowing we need, according to Nabil Hamdi, is less normative, less easy to standardize in its routines and procedures, less tolerant of data-hungry study, data-hungry serial thinking, he calls it, right? And less reliant on statistics and systems analysis. I would add maps. Data is also an issue for experts. Ordinary people prefer to stay out of police stations and so on, out of these places where the literates go for data. Even the authorities join them in producing informality. People don't build according to the plan that is approved. Do they ask to, okay, break it? No. They say, you have built so many square feet more, you pay a fine and we will certify it, right? So actually the formal sector is also collaborating in this, right? In regard to theories of learning, Confucius identifies 3 ways of learning. I'm trying to understand from the margins, like Confucius, bell hooks, because they've done great work, right? Imitation, which is easy. Number 2, reflection, which is noble. By experience, which is bitter, he calls it. The formal education adopts imitation, unfortunately, number 1, while the ordinary people learn from experience. How do we match this? According to Krishnamurti, J. Krishnamurti, the primary function of education is to create a human being who is well integrated and intelligent. For that one must begin with doubt. Not as my student learned how to solve the urban problems, here's a recipe, you go and do this. Right? Not believe. The Buddha also said this. Right? Buddha and Marx both said this. Believing kills learning. If we can do these exams the way we are doing, that means we are not educating them. Because if they can memorize what it is, that's gone, I think. We need to cultivate curiosity and doubt. Doubt. The key issue is we largely study other places and times, but not ourselves. I think we need to question ourselves, not other people. Most look outside for their identity. He doesn't like me, she doesn't like me, she likes me. So no, I think identity you should look inside, right? We question ourselves, especially our identity is privilege, and we need to question that privilege, right? I am privileged to give a talk here, right? I need to ask, where do I get this? So I'm not saying Sri Lanka doesn't have this or something like that. I mean, I'm not thinking dualistically or serially or contribute to serial thinking. Susantha Gunatilaka, Nalin De Silva, like lot of debates about these people. They've actually questioned a lot of very important things about local knowledge, right? I'm not asking you to join their politics. That's not what I'm saying. So listen to what I'm saying. Gananatha Bisekara studied the transformation of Buddhism from within, Kumari Jayavardhana again, the working class as well as the elite and so on, right? So we do have, and we can pay attention to not the outcome and give exams, but the process. What did they do, how did they do, and how can we do, right? The best way to know about people is to ask them, right? You can just ask somebody. If you want to know me, ask me, right? Why don't people do that? Most recently, Nirmal Ranjit did this book on Martelis. It's not like a big volume or anything like that, but it's fantastic to ask, what is the Samasamaja party? From a Samasamaja regular person, not from an emperor or somebody, and Kumudu Kumar Singh wrote Colombo Vitti from a person who lived in Colombo, because most of what is written about Colombo comes from people who have migrated. They believe they know Colombo. They don't. There are people who are living here. There's a huge number of living. So close to my own work, I'm impressed by Nishara Fernando's long-term study of Badovita and similar communities, right? So there is work, like I'm looking forward to what are you contributing? It's not like the regular descriptive story. Like what is the idea? What is the theory? Rather than sort of like bringing from outside, they provide room for voices of people who have no right to intellectual labor. They provide room. It's fantastic. Martelis didn't have room for intellectual labor. He thought he was following an emperor or something like that. This is precisely why I take students to communities, which you heard about the Capacia program, rather than imposing, punishing, judging and shaming the students that you know or you don't know, right? Okay. So I follow them instead of that, right? And help them develop deeper knowledge and do better. I don't have to know what they're producing beforehand. I don't have to know. I don't know. But I guide them. It's called guided construction of knowledge. To finish off what I'm saying, let me show you 3 examples of this program. First, so these are some images. Okay. So it has a planning to learn component. I'm supposed to teach urban planning, but I'm not learning. I'm not helping them to learn planning, but I'm helping them to plan to learn. So what happens when planning is done, right? And then building to learn. There are architecture students and so on who join my program. I say build and see what happens. Like let's learn from those, right? You can't just. It's not drive-by shooting. You build something and run away, right? No, we're there, right? And we've also worked with tsunami and so on to give you a background. Let me get to the story. Okay. Yeah, we did a build, design, build project. I call it build, design, build because in the Western system we design and then build, right? This is from a Western university, you know, my own university. So we show them how to pay attention to the process, right? It's not like you build and it's done, right? So this division of labor is what is killing us, right? So now you can see on the right hand side, we were building, they were supposed to build something using wood and mud. But they were given a small budget, so they couldn't buy big timber and so on. It's more like a recycling, you know, helping them to understand recycling, but also to understand materials are not the materials that you can buy in the market. There could be other materials. That is what low-income people do. They are extremely creative. I teach them how to learn, not from capital A architects, but from ordinary people. Because if you have to sleep the night, and if you only have a tarp and 3 pieces of wood, how would you sleep? This is extremely creative. We dismiss them, right? So my students learn from ordinary people. So now they are supposed to build this, and then we hired a carpenter and a mason, not to work, but as consultants, right? So you can see 3 of my students sitting there. The guy who is sitting in the middle, he was a very angry guy, you know, like he came to me and said, Nihal, you took our money and everything. We broke 3 hammers this morning, right? And we need some strong tools and everything, right? So I waited until he calmed down, you know, because this is how I teach. And then I learned from them. And then after a little while, the carpenter was repairing the hammers, because the hammers have wooden handles. And then they went down and sort of like they were squatting and sort of like watching this, and they came back to me, especially the one in the center, and said, Nihal, you know what? I said, what? Oh, they repair hammers here. I said, absolutely, that's fantastic. So this is what they learned, you know, like, and then I said, now he will repair the hammers, use them very carefully, and learn how it is used here, right? Don't try to kind of like be like a macho American and sort of like break these hammers, you know, like beating that, right? So I like to kind of like see what the students are learning, and the left hand side is a class that I hold. Oops, not here. I'm moving my slides here. And then the second example is we worked with a group called Charas. Charas were nomads who were settled by force by the British near Ahmedabad, and they were considered criminal tribes, right? A criminal tribe. And then we studied that village, you know, like, and then we don't go with an objective. It's not our objective. We want to understand the community, and if they need anything, we can help. And then eventually we thought that the neighborhood should be improved, not demolished and, you know, built flats. So we went and talked with the municipal commissioner. Municipal commissioner did not agree. He said these guys are crooks. One person from every family has been in prison, and my students were actually crying, especially women, because they were so much in love with this place, right? And I'll show you another slide to kind of like to highlight this. And then we came back to find the municipality has a plan to build flats, but the base map was wrong. And this map, that's the important thing. There was I took them to this place. I mean, these are middle class people are afraid to go to these places. So one of my students didn't want to go there. So he was sitting where we lived, and he was mapping this place. I said, what are you doing, Tad? You know, Tad said, okay, Nihal, I'm drawing a map of that place. I said, okay. So I gave him like 2 weeks, and then I asked, what the hell are you doing? You know, I'm drawing a map. Why do you think it's, what is the base? You know, you didn't go to the neighborhood. He said, oh, Google. Google is correct, right? So, okay, I said, finish that and take it and double check, because they are breaking and make sure the map is up to date. So you can see I'm using his energy, not my energy, to teach. And he went and updated. This is an updated map. He went to all the houses. None of the other students went actually, right? So I was able to encourage him through his own interest to go there. And then eventually we figured out that the municipality's base map was wrong. So we framed this, handed over to the community went to the municipality and claimed that you can't build because you don't have a map. We have map. And the community said, still after 20 years, it still exists. And then it's in the same village. This lady, her name is Chloe. So Chloe was teaching English because that's the library. It was in very bad shape. So Chloe went directly into the class. They try to do some comparable things, because it's very uncomfortable to go there. So she walked in and started teaching English to kids. So kids came on time. They all called her Chlorine, and so on. And she had like sit, stand, shut up, and she was, had the index cards and so on. I said, first I encouraged her to do that. After about 3 weeks, I asked, what the hell are you doing? And she said, I'm teaching English. I said, you're damn colonial. You come from the United States and teach English to these Indian kids, and then I said, and she was very upset. And I said, I like to destabilize them, And then I told her, how are you going to learn? Because we came here to learn. Now you're teaching. You are the most important person here, right? How do you transform yourself into a student? And she was upset about that. I said, I'll give you a clue. You are teaching these kids. You have gone to the center of the neighborhood. All the mothers must be knowing you too. They know where the kids go, right? You must be having access to this entire community. Maybe none of your colleagues have access. How are you going to make use of this to understand this community? No. Right? And I also gave her some ideas, like maybe you can ask them to draw certain things, various things. You can begin to kind of like learn this place from the kids and so on. So my graduate assistant told me she smoked 3 cigarettes, after this conversation, and she went and she did a fantastic job. So this is a photo that when the community took when we were leaving. So she went and she cleaned that wall. She got the students to kind of like keep their handprints, and so on. So we came to know a lot about this community, right? Let me see. Yeah. So maybe I will stop here because I'm also going. We also have some time for a little bit of conversation. Okay. You can offer me something, an experience that you have that I can also understand and learn. I'm a learner. It's okay. Because you have said that, yeah. You have enough.
Okay, if you have any questions or any thoughts, you can.
Yeah, share your thoughts. I mean, according to the whole talk, I'm not an authority, right? I mean, so feel free. Sure. Do you need to give the... And madam, if you can also tell your name, that will be fantastic, because
I'm Shashi from the Econ department.
Okay.
This is just something that I picked up from your speech just now. You were talking about the shanties. So
Shanties, okay.
Shanties. So my whole perception to shanties just changed. Now, there are a lot of condominiums, apartments coming up in Sri Lanka, and people are craving to go for these things. I mean, even, you can take myself, even like, dreaming to get into one of those things. But my perception just now changed, because now when you take even these things are kind of shanties where, like, you think it's all just buildings and we are just moving away from our natural settings. So, so thank you very much for highlighting on that.
Thank you.
And so I don't think I ever want to now be in one of those, because it's just, when you just look everywhere, it's just concrete buildings. And you're like, totally just moving away from your, the nature and the natural setting. Thank you, just wanted to highlight on that.
Thanks. Excuse me.
Thank you, Neil. It's very interesting, thought-provoking, presentation. I would like to bit of a, share one of my also experience in relation to Sri Pada pilgrimage. When I was working at the Sri Pada actually, so there was a group of people coming from the Colombo area, where one day actually when I was sat on the, small boutique, I was discussing about, the conversation I had with the business owner, the small boutique owner, and I said, how's the business? As usual, you talk about that. He said, no, this business are not good. When the Colombo Kattiya in a kaleta, kisi prashnak naha kiyala. So that was a very interesting stuff, struck me. Who is this Colombo Kattiya? They used to Colombo Kattiya, right? So they are coming, basically, Sri Pada during the month of March, April, right? So then I was waiting. Then I see actually gradually, people are coming from Colombo, so-called very deprived, the, shanty or the low-income areas. People are actually coming, loads of trains and, buses and so on and so forth. If you really looked at that, you see, I just completed actually a draft paper on that. The title of my paper also, Colombo Kattiya. So there's something very interesting. I want to really look at their religiosity, right? So normally I want to really sort of argue against what Obesekar was talking about, this particularly slum and shanty areas, people, religiosity is much more connected with the Kali and Sunyam and that kind of stuff. I said if you look at the traditional forms of pilgrimage, you see they are still connected with their traditions. Most of those shanty areas people actually came from southern areas and most of the southern part of the area, because if you really look at their genealogical inquiries of where they come from and so on. So what I wanted to really look at that, when you really looked at the something from above, you won't completely miss what you're talking about, the ground reality. There is, as you said, there's a epistemological violence picking from Gayatri Spivak, right? So when you looked at the society in a very so-called scientific way, using scientific method, but not looking at from the bottom. Like there are a lot of stuff, as you said, James Scott, from the bottom, weapons of the weak. So we had to actually got to know that. So our methodological way of understanding the bottom of the people who have also to something to deliver, not the expert. So I think I'm really happy that you brought it out and challenged this expert knowledge, right? We think that we know everything, but we can learn from people. That's a really interesting way of good approach to actually to learn from your talk. That's what I really admire. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much, Professor Pereira, for sharing knowledge with us, and thank you to the audience for your active participation. We now take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished guests with tokens of appreciation. To do the honors, I warmly invite Dr. Ananda Karunaratna, Ms. Netra Senadi, co-chairpersons, and Dr. Avanka Fernando, Secretary, IConArts 2024. First, we extend our gratitude to our chief guest for today, Senior Professor H.D. Karunaratna, Vice Chancellor, University of Colombo. Next, to Senior Professor Lasantha Manavadu, Dean, Faculty of Arts, University of Colombo. Finally, to our keynote speaker, Emeritus Professor Nihal Pereira, Ball State University, USA. Thank you. With that, we have come to the end of our inauguration ceremony. To wind up, I would like to invite Dr. Avanka Fernando, Secretary, IConArts 2024, to deliver the vote of thanks.
In a world where the significance of humanities and social sciences is increasingly being challenged, I think it's such a privilege to come and celebrate the role of humanities and social sciences, especially in a fast-changing world. So I'm the Vice Chancellor, University of Colombo, Senior Professor H.D. Karunaratna, the Dean, Faculty of Arts, Senior Professor Lasantha Manavadu, the keynote speaker, Professor Emeritus Nihal Pereira, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to propose this vote of thanks on this occasion of the 10th International Conference on Humanities and Social Sciences. And I think we have been reminded of what a privilege it is to be in the field of humanities and social sciences. And I think, firstly, we really need to thank us also just the fact that we are in a system where we are able to really reflect, really critically think, and also learn from each other. Over the last couple of weeks and months, I have just been reminded of how wonderful it is to be in such a diverse faculty where people could be writing and learning from literature, learning from language, learning from sociology, demography, international relations, history, political science, and I know I've missed a few subjects, but it's such a brilliant, I think, opportunity. And I think first we need to really be thankful for that, that we have this opportunity to be in such a diverse university, such a diverse faculty, which gives us the opportunity to really integrate and to interact with people. So also on behalf of the organizing committee of IConArts 2024, we would like to thank all of you coming from all these different backgrounds, different disciplines, and really bringing color and vibrancy to this event. Thank you so much. We especially thank the chief guest, our Vice Chancellor, Senior Professor H.D. Karunaratna, for your words of encouragement and inspiration, reminding us again of the importance of research and ranking. Thank you, sir, for constantly encouraging us. To the Dean, Faculty of Arts, Senior Professor Lasantha Manavadu, for continuing to motivate the faculty to engage in research. Thank you, sir. We know you spend so much time helping us and really challenging us, talking of collaborations and really bringing us together. To the librarian of the University of Colombo, who has also been so pivotal to helping us with exploring the world through many books and portals and gateways. Thank you, Madam, for gracing this occasion. Professor Emeritus Nihal Pereira for agreeing to deliver the keynote address. Our deepest gratitude, sir, for challenging us to rethink our ideas of pedagogy, of learning, of education, and especially how we can learn from ordinary people, as I said, that it's not just about us teaching, but it is also about learning from each other, maybe in our own faculty, but also learning from ordinary people. What a privilege it is, and I hope we will continue as we engage in research to keep that curiosity alive. Special thanks to the deans representing different faculties who are present here today. We also very specially appreciate senior professors, former professors, emeritus professors, and retired members of the Faculty of Arts for your legacy that you have given to our faculties and to our faculty and departments. To all the wonderful Faculty of Arts, the staff members who are here, you have added color, diversity, and brought so much vibrance into this faculty. And we are just going to, I think, go into a full day of some of that very vibrancy and the some of the vibrance of the research that we have been doing over the past year, from the non-aligned approach in different countries to intimate partner violence in the smallest unit of the family, to dance as a social method. Here are some of the most very diverse, and if you just take a look at your session schedule, you will see the diversity and the exciting sessions that are planned out for you today. And very quickly, also the Senior Student Counselor, I'm sorry I missed, sir, thank you for being here with us today and for your presence and for the work that you do in the university. And we are truly grateful to postgraduate students, researchers, undergraduate students who have been here, and for your presence with us here, Professor Vesna and some of the panelists who will be with us today over the course of the day. We are truly grateful to all of you, to the guests and special invitees. Very quickly, I would also like to thank, since it is my duty as the secretary, our sponsors, without whom it would not be possible. Dr. Pradeep Piris, who is here, Director of the Social Scientists Association, and their generous sponsorship. The master's program in financial economics, Dr. Mahinder has been so kind of supportive of this cause. Innovative Private Limited and their work also, their help in our previous projects as well. And the Confucius Institute as well for their support of this conference. Also to the Senior Assistant Registrar, Mr. Suresh Kant, who is very prompt and helps us at a drop of a hat or whenever we go and bother him. He's always ready to talk to us. Ms. Dolagier, Senior Assistant Bersa, and her staff who have been here and helping us. The Dean's Office, such a wonderful place. I know they're constantly being bothered by a lot of needs, but they have always helped us. Also the Digital Media Club for covering the event. And also you see all the different organizing committees. Thank you so much. IConArts has been happening over several months. And a lot of the work has been done in terms of a very rigorous process. I'm not going to read out all the names, you will see them coming up there, and we are grateful to each and every one of them. We are also grateful to many of the non-academic staff, the cleaning staff, all of them who have just made this event possible, who have been behind the scenes, and for the wonderful work that they have been doing, and also reminding us that faculty is a very diverse and a wonderful place to work in. Of course, there are challenges, I'm sure, but I think we can be really grateful and thankful for this. So thank you to all of you, and now over to our wonderful compeer, Kavindya. Over to her.
Thank you, Madam. Before we officially conclude the ceremony, there are a few important announcements to share. We will commence the scientific session shortly after refreshments. There will be 4 parallel sessions in the morning, afternoon, and evening, each taking place at 4 different venues. Lecture Hall 118, Faculty Boardroom, Auditorium, Department of Demography, and Lecture Hall 223. Please follow the color codes displayed on the screen to guide you to your respective venue. Additionally, we have a panel discussion on sustainable and resilient futures scheduled to take place from 4 p.m. onwards at this venue, Lecture Hall 128. Following the panel discussion, we will proceed with the closing ceremony, which will also be held at the same venue. We invite all attendees to participate in the scientific sessions, panel discussion, and the closing ceremony. Also, refreshments, lunch, and the evening tea will be available at the Cartography Room, Department of Geography. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we officially conclude the inauguration ceremony of IConArts 2024. Thank you, and we wish you all a productive day ahead.